Russian troops have entered Ukraine's northern Symy region as part of their ongoing campaign in an attempt to encircle the Ukrainian bridgehead in Russia's border Kursk region, a U.S. Institute for Study of War has reported. The ISW referred to geolocated footage from January 10, saying that Russian units crossed the international border and advanced west of Zhuravka, located north of Symy city along the border. The video from the 67th Mechanized Infantry Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces shows attacks on Russian infantry. The ISW claims that the footage was filmed on the Ukrainian side of the border northwest of the village of Zhuravka. The ISW cited an unnamed military blogger who claimed that the Russian troops entered Ukraine's Symy region to bypass Nikolaevo-Dorino, situated to the southeast of Sudza town in Kursk region. According to the same blogger, Russian forces advanced into northern Symy region near Prokody, northeast of Symy city. However, the ISW has not yet been able to verify the blogger's claim. Ukraine launched large-scale incursion into Russia's Kursk region in early August, capturing swathes of lands in the border region. Last week, Ukraine resumed attacks on Kursk and claimed capturing 3 more districts in Kursk. Russia has been seeking to regain control over the region, with some researchers suggesting that Moscow had taken back around 40% of lost territories in Kursk. Meanwhile, Ukrainian media reported on Monday that a Russian soldier who was involved in the killing of Ukrainian hostages has been captured on Kursk region.
Having staked out his role as someone who trains Russian troops not only in Chechnya but across the country, Ramzan Kadyrov has now declared himself commander of all troops in Chechnya and said anyone who disagrees with that must be dismissed. US expert Paul Goebel recalls that Ramzan Kadyrov has trained almost 50,000 Russian soldiers in his Spetsnaz University in Gudemes since that institution was established in 2013. Now the Chechen leader is using graduates of that school to train Russian soldiers in other regions of the Russian Federation, including the Kola Peninsula, Atle Stalesen says. The editor of the Barents Observer says that the Gudemes school has helped Kadyrov solidify his influence with Vladimir Putin, who, when he visited it, said that it plays an important role in the defense capacity of the whole country. The Kremlin leader likely welcomes Kadyrov's expansion of his training network, but there may be a downside. The Chechen leader may be creating an alliance that could be used against the Kremlin in the case of a weakening at the center. At the very least, Kadyrov, by his action, reduces the ability of the center to rein him in. That Kadyrov may have such larger goals in mind is suggested by the fact that he now has a special representation office in Murmansk. Headed by Aslambek Azayev, it closely cooperates with representatives of the security services and regularly meets with regional governor Andrei Chibis. Stalesen says. US expert Paul Goebel says that his words are undoubtedly, at least in part, bravado, but the fact that Kadyrov feels free to make such a declaration must disturb many in Moscow because it suggests that, at least in Chechnya, Moscow's control may not be nearly as tight as the Kremlin would like to believe. But there are two other implications, one immediate and one longer term, that may prove more serious. In the short term, Kadyrov's suggestion will exacerbate relations between him and Chechen forces on the one hand and the Russian High Command on the other hand in the fighting in Ukraine, reducing unit cohesion and effectiveness. And in the longer term, Kadyrov is doing what many analysts have suggested other regional leaders might do in the event that Putin leaves the scene unexpectedly and the center weakens. If other governors make similar claims, that could trigger a far worse civil war than anyone is now projecting, Paul Goebel added.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has published the first video of the interrogation of North Korean soldiers captured in the Kursk region of the Russian Federation and stated that Ukraine is ready to return them to their homeland as part of an exchange for Ukrainian prisoners in Russia. In the video, one of the prisoners shakes his head when asked if he knew he was fighting against Ukraine. According to the translator, the prisoner was told he was just going for training. Prisoners once more claim that they did not know that they were going to war in Ukraine, and that the command said it was a routine training session. One Korean prisoner of war stated that they did not understand where they were and also did not know that they were going to war against Ukraine. Another North Korean captive said his family also did not know where he was. Answering the question of how long he had been on the front line, the DPRK soldier said, "On January 3rd there was an offensive, I saw that my soldiers were dying, I took cover in a dugout, and on the 5th they found me." Those questioned were divided on whether they wanted to return to North Korea. One said yes, while another said he would like to live in Ukraine. He said that he wanted to stay and live in Ukraine, but then added that he would do as he is told. If he needs to return, he will return. If he is given a chance to stay here, he will stay, the translator recounts. In addition to the first captured soldiers from North Korea, there will undoubtedly be others. It is a matter of time before our guys manage to capture more. And no one in the world should have any doubts that the Russian army depends on military assistance from the DPRK. Putin started 3 years ago with NATO ultimatums and an attempt to rewrite history, and now he cannot do without such military assistance from Pyongyang. Ukraine is ready to hand over his people to Kim Jong-un if he can organize their exchange for our soldiers who are being held captive in Russia. For those North Korean soldiers who do not want to return, there may be some other ways. In particular, those Koreans who wish to bring peace by spreading the truth about this war in Korean will have such an opportunity, Volodymyr Zelensky said. Zelensky said that one of the prisoners expressed a desire to remain in Ukraine, the second, to return to the DPRK. If Kim Jong-un remembers these citizens of his at all and can organize an exchange for our soldiers who are being held in Russia, we can hand over such soldiers. There will undoubtedly be other prisoners from North Korea, the president said.
Чи знаєте ви, де ви зараз?
지금 여기가 어딘지 알아?
Не знає. Ви перебуваєте в Україні.
넌 지금 우크라이나에 있어, 우크라이나.
Ви знали, що ви воюєте проти України?
우크라이나 상대로 싸우는 거 알고 있었지. 몰랐어?
Не знав. А що вам казали ваші командири, коли відправляли на війну?
그러면 여기 지휘관들 모자는 뭐라고 그랬어? 누구랑 싸운다고 했어?
훈련을 실전처럼 해본다고 했어요.
Йому казали, що просто тренування.
북한의 가족들이 없어? 있어?
Родина є. Вони знають, де ви зараз?
부모님은 지금 너 어디 있는지 알아?
А як довго він на лінії фронту?
그러면 전선에는 1월 3일부터만 있었던 거야? 1월 3일부터 있었고, 그러고 언제까지? 잡혔을 때까지?
1월 3일 날 나와서 옆에 동료들이 죽는 것을 보고 거기 한강공원에 숨어 있다가 1월 5일 날 부상당하고 그다음에
3 числа був наступ. Бачив, що його солдати вмирають. Сховався у бліндажі. 5 числа його знайшли. Така історія. Ви хочете повернутися назад в Північну Корею?
북한으로 다시 돌아가고 싶어? 조선으로 다시 돌아가고 싶어?
Так. Ви хочете повернутися назад в Північну Корею?
다시 북한으로 돌아가고 싶어?
우크라이나 사람들은 다 좋은 거예요.
우크라이나 괜찮은 거 같아? 여긴 좋아.
여기서 살고 싶어요.
Я хочу жити в Україні. Ми розуміємо, що ви не володіли інформацією повною мірою, тому ми готові допомагати.
너는 지금 우리 여기 우크라이나 친구들이랑 나를 포함해서 아까 여기 선생님들 계셨잖아. 그분들이랑 잘 얘기를 하면 여기서 최대한 살 수 있도록 우리가 잘 해볼 테니까 건강하게 잘 있어야 돼. 건강하게 잘 있고 밥 주는 거 잘 먹고 알겠지? 자주 올 테니까.
집에는 안 보내주겠지요?
집에 가고 싶어?
가라면 가는데.
가라면 갈 거고 우크라이나 남으라고 하면 남을 거고.
Він сказав, що в принципі як йому скажуть. Тобто, якщо йому потрібно буде повертатися, то він повертатиметься. Якщо йому дадуть шанс